Do you have a right under the Constitution to a welfare check, to health care, to Social Security, to absolute safety? No, under the Constitution you don't. In fact, those improper functions of government expressly undermine one of the most basic rights that you do have, the right to economic freedom. That is, the right to open a business, to invent a new device, create a new product, without the assistance and without the burden of the government and bureaucracy. Here to explain is Hoover Institution Research Fellow Clint Bolick, author of Death Grip, Loosening the Law's Stranglehold Over Economic Liberty. Clint, it's a pleasure. I'm happy you're here. Welcome to Freedom Watch.
Thank you for having me.
Clint, we all know about freedom of speech and freedom of the press and freedom of religion and the right to travel and the right to privacy. What about freedom to own a business? What about freedom to do with your property whatever you want? What about the right to invest and trade? Why aren't those rights, economic liberties, treated the same way by the government as the first set of rights, which we usually call civil liberties?
Well, they were intended to be. In fact, they were thought of as civil rights early in the years of our republic. And when Americans think of their rights, certainly they think of freedom of enterprise as one of the most important rights that we have. But they've been utterly destroyed. And you pointed out, the right to a welfare check today receives greater legal protection than the right to earn an honest living. If the government tries to take away your welfare check, you can tie them up in knots with the Legal Services Corporation, but if they destroy your business or license your occupation out of existence, there's almost no recourse.
All right, how is it that we have not learned the lesson? It's beyond a lesson, it's a self-evident truth that investment and risk and the use of private means of production creates a lot more wealth than central planning of the economy by the government. Stated differently, how did we get to the point in history where people can actually claim, it's not in there, but claim that the Constitution protects their right to a check from the government? We're not just talking about welfare, we're talking about corporate welfare as well.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I think people get it, economists get it, judges don't get it. And the book that I've written for the Hoover Institution, Death Grip, talks about a decision going all the way back to 1873, where the protection of the right to earn a living free from excessive government regulation was literally read out of the Constitution by 5 members of the United States Supreme Court in a case called the Slaughterhouse Cases. That decision has never been overturned, and my colleagues and I at the Goldwater Institute sue bureaucrats every day, and we're trying to rebuild a jurisprudence of economic liberty.
What are the chances that this long, 125-year-old jurisprudence that says the right to work is not a fundamental right, it's not in the same category as the right to speak, what are the chances that it's going to be changed? Or are we going to be saddled forever with needing the government's approval to risk our own dollars?
Well, we're seeing glimpses of hope here. In the most recent gun rights case, 5 members of the Supreme Court said, you know what, we're taking a look at that old 1873 decision and we don't necessarily think that it was rightly decided. And if we get the right case, we will reconsider that. And I'm very, very excited about that.
Got it. Clint Bolick, it's a pleasure. Keep up the good work. When that right case comes along, we hope you'll come back on Freedom Watch. Thanks for joining us.